sewing friends, it's Tessa here, and I am going to just share a few quick updates with you about what's happening at Love Notions today for Feature Friday. Number one, if you're here for the sew along video with Tammy, you can skip ahead to this minute marker. Also, we have an exciting Feature Friday today because we are featuring the Love Notions Laundry Day Tee, which if you've been with us for a while, you know is one of the most beloved patterns in the entire Love Notions collection. And you can get it for free when you join our Love Notions pattern support group on Facebook. It's a free private group. There's 52,000 people there who are all encouraging, supportive, and sharing inspiring sewing makes that help you with your Love Notions patterns. So please make sure to check the link below to get access into that group and to get your code for your free Laundry Day Tee. We're also featuring a couple of girls patterns for our Feature Friday today, and they're all going to be $5 each. We're featuring the little Love Notions Laundry Day Tee, which is in girl sizes. We're also featuring Miss Mary Mack, which is an adorable tunic pattern that matches so well with our free leggings pattern. And we also are featuring, last but not least, the everyday Playdress. All three of these girls options will be so great for your children's sewing pattern collection. So I hope you grab those. You can get them all in the link below. Now, I just wanted to share a quick little bit before we go on to Tammy's sewing of the Laundry Day Tee. This video was originally posted on Facebook as a live, and it was posted several years ago, and it's actually the reason why I started to sew. I wanted to see somebody do it step by step by step, from printing the pattern to assembling the pattern and finally to constructing the garment. And I watched this video, like personally, I watched this video probably 5 times as I went through my sew. So this is a kind of a special thing to me. So I hope that you can use the following sew along and get all of your questions answered. Even though it was made a few years ago, it still has all the basics that you need to know about the Love Notions Laundry Day Tee. And since the publication of that video, the Laundry Day Tee is now available in sizes extra small to 5X. And there's also an optional full bust adjustment included in the pattern for you. There's a few little changes about how the pattern is constructed, namely that there is not going to be the neckline pages that you attach. But other than that, most of the video is going to be just exactly what you need to make your Laundry Day Tee. I hope it's helpful for you, and I hope you enjoy your sews, and make sure to check out all the Feature Friday patterns that we have on for sale today. Bye.
Okay, so if you still need to download your pattern, you'll go to, once you've purchased it, go to My Account, and then over here you see your options here. If you go to Downloads, it'll show you all your pattern purchases here. You do not have to wait for that email with a link. You can always access your patterns right away. So find your Laundry Day Tee or whatever pattern you're doing. This is the Laundry Day Tee, and you just click on that download. That will start the download automatically in the background of your computer, you know, how your computer works. And then all you have to do is open up Adobe Reader, which is a free program, and I only recommend using Adobe. And then go to, if it doesn't show up like in your recent, well, it wouldn't because you just downloaded it. You go to Open and then search for wherever your downloads go to. I think I have a million. I downloaded it several times when I was testing this out. And then you open. Okay, there we've got it opened up in Adobe, and I am on a desktop, so I am able to access the layers, which is this little icon over here. It's like sheets of paper. And then you expand this little plus sign to see all the sizes. Now, before you do that, and before you do any pattern, you should read through the tutorial completely. Just like if you're cooking a recipe that's new to you, you should read through it first. Make sure you have all the ingredients, all of the equipment. Same goes for a pattern. So in the Laundry Day Tee, on page 3, I have listed out what pages you need to print for each view. So you don't have to print the whole thing. You can just, I think it's as few as like 12 pages, I think. it's not very many pages to print out. So then you just, go to print and, type in those numbers and you're good. So I have already done that. Oh, so before you print, you should, if you want to, you can select the size you want to print over here in the layers. By default, they're all on. So like if you want to do a size large, you just, you unselect those other buttons. And then you go to print, put in your page numbers, it'll print out. That's it. So, switch back to me. Okay, the camera's moving. All right, hi Dorothy. All right, so I have already printed out my pattern, and we're going to start at the beginning. I'm going to walk through how to tape it together, cut out the pieces, sew everything. And I think Facebook Live videos only go for like an hour or so, so we'll have to be snappy about this, but I think we can do it. So, put you guys over here. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Feel free to ask any questions, so I'll check the comments as I do this. So I've already picked out my fabric, which is the hardest part, most time-consuming part for me to decide what fabric I'm going to use. I'm going to use this pretty one. I've had this for so long, I don't remember where I got it. So, does this look familiar to anybody? I want to say, was it Pretty Posh Prince, maybe? But it's like a rayon jersey, or a rayon lycra. So it's got nice stretch to it. So 4 hours for a video? Well, it's definitely not going to take that long. I can't do this for 4 hours. So, okay. We're going to tape together our pattern. So my patterns are trimless, and they go in rows. So we're going to start with the first row, and you'll see how there is a solid line and a dotted line. I'm in the US, and I'm working with 8.5 by 11 paper, so I'm going to use the solid guidelines. The dotted line is for those who are using A4 size paper. So, Rose, you got your fabrics from Callie? Oh, good! Cool, that's awesome. Okay, so we're going to start with the first page, then overlap the second page on top of the first page. We're going right up to that solid line, or dotted if you're international, but we're not covering it up. Let me see if I can show you a bit better. Can you see how... So we're butting it up right to it, but not over. So that's kind of important. If you find your pieces are not aligning right, start with that. Make sure that you've got those pieces up to the line, but not over. And then we're just going to continue across. And I believe we are, let's see, six pages across on top. You love my trimless patterns, Karen? Thank you. I love them too. You can imagine I print out patterns a lot, especially like when I'm doing samples, drafting. Oh my goodness, I print out so much, so many times, that the trimless saves me a ton of time. I wish, and I love sewing other designers' patterns too, just for a change. I wish everybody did this way because it's so fast. Okay. And then this page. And so like the next line, it goes on top up to that guideline on the top page, but not over it. And we just continue going across. Where's Mallory? I have her on standby, Tessa. She's in the living room. I told her, stay close in case I need your help. I told her she might have to do some camera work for me today. So we have any first-time sewers here? Anybody completely new? Karen, you like using glue stick? You know, I have heard that before, but I don't know. Tape is, I don't know. I think tape's easier for me. Because when you fold it up, I don't know. I feel like glue stick, it doesn't fold up as well. I don't know. For a while there, I used, I I did some scrapbooking a little bit, and I had those tape dispenser runner things, which was really nice, but super expensive, so not very practical. Alright. Got my body almost taped together. You guys noticed the original Laundry Day tee had the front and back layered on top of the same piece. I did it a little bit different for the new Laundry Day tee, so there wasn't so much confusion, I hope. So I'll show you more about that in a second. Ramsey, you're a beginner. Have only sewed a few things here and there. Yeah, awesome. Gotta start somewhere. Okay, so we've got the body all done, and now we're going to do the sleeve, and I'm just going to do the short sleeve, so I don't need all these pages I printed out. I just need 31 and 32. Okay, and let's see. And I'm not doing the V-neck, I'm just going to do the regular V-neck, or the regular scoop neck. I'm not doing the cowl. Okay, that's all the pages I need. So, we're going to cut out our pattern down. Now, I have 2 rotary cutters. I use this one for cutting patterns and paper, and then I have one I use for fabric. That is a huge time saver for me. And then, what I do to get this blade, once my fabric blade has worn out, I just move it over to my paper blade, because it'll last longer, and it doesn't matter if it's raggedy or not. Not a great cut. Tammy, you have a vintage tape dispenser? Cool. That would be a good pattern weight too. Awesome. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and cut our thing out. I'm just going to do the shirt length with a short sleeve and scoop neck. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm just doing the shirt length, and you can see how I have a line marked here that says cut here for shirt length. I'm just going to highlight it to make it more visible. Okay, so then the shirt length goes out over here. Okay, the dress length, and then this line that is the same on the shirt but goes lower is the tunic. If you happen to be doing the high-low hem on the tunic or the dress, I'll show you. You can see that there is a new cut line right here. It's kind of a scooped one. So you would cut your front out at that scoopy line, and then your back, you would cut it out on the regular line. So, but for today, I'm just going to cut out the shirt length, this one right here. Can you get a close-up over here? I just want to show you something else. If you're doing a tank, you'll cut on this inside line. It says cut here for tank. Tank is like a smaller sleeve. It doesn't have a sleeve. So you have like almost like straps here. But I'm adding sleeves, so I'm going to cut on this outside line.
What's the difference between tunic and regular shirt length?
Length.
Yeah.
So here is the shirt length, like this right here. And tunic adds on like, what is that, like three extra inches. So. Okay, so here we have our front piece. Now, on the old pattern, I used to have the back piece here. So you would cut the back out first, and then you would cut out like the pattern piece right here, and then cut out the front. But I redid it, so I have a separate back neckline that we're going to cut out, and we'll attach to the front when we're ready to do that. There is a lot of confusion about
110.
110 people on?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So here's our back piece. When we're ready to cut the fabric, all we'll do is we'll match up those triangles, tape it there, cut our back, and then you can even like fold it down and cut the front, so you're not like cutting into your pattern and everything stays together better. So here's our neckband. If you're doing a V-neck, which is another separate piece similar to the back, you'll notice the neckband has a little notch on it. For the V-neck, you cut into that notch. But we're just doing a scoop today.
Okay, a few people have said, how do you make it more flowy?
to make it more flowy?
Yeah.
Okay. You would have to do a slash and spread. That would be, get this out of the way. So to slash and spread to make it more flowy, you would take your pattern and depending on where you want it, you probably would want to make it flowy from like below the bust. So like right around there where it kind of goes in. You would draw a line or cut that apart, then take this part, cut it like 2 or 3 times, then spread those pieces and then retrace it, and it will be like flowier. That's how you make it more flowy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tape the back onto here. So I'm just matching up those triangles so we don't lose that piece. Okay, and I'm going to cut the sleeve out. Just doing the short sleeve. The short sleeve, you can kind of see it goes, kind of dips down and it continues on all the way out here. If you're doing the elbow length, you'd be cutting in this inside one. Any other questions?
If I want wider tank straps, can I cut one shirt instead?
You could. You could definitely do that. If you did that, I have the measurements would change for the bands. So those wouldn't be, you would have to like remeasure your arm's eye, not sure how to say that, to get the right band measurement. But you can totally do that. It'd be more of a sleeveless instead of a tank. Let's do that away. Okay.
120.
Cool. Alright, so we have our pattern pieces. We just have 3 pieces. And we're going to cut our fabric now. Out of the way. Now, I don't know how newbie of people we have, how newish they are, but this is like a 2-length cut of fabric. And we need to cut our pattern, so we're cutting with the grain line. I'll show you. Like, on a pattern, you'll always find a grain line. The stretch goes across the grain, and the grain is parallel to the selvage. The selvage is the longer side, and it's the uncut side. So it's kind of, it's probably, if you have a knit, it probably curls in a little bit. That's the selvage. We're going to cut, so going this way, so we get the most stretch. Alright, and our directions say cut on the fold, so we got to fold it over. I didn't check if this was straight, but I'm pretty sure it's straight enough. Oh yeah. Alright. So I'm going to cut the back first. So I've got that back piece up here. And we're on the fold.
You should pay me for being your camera woman.
Huh?
You should pay me for being your camera woman.
Keep it still. You don't make anyone sick.
How do you prep your fabric?
You should always wash and dry it, however you'll end up using it. So I always just throw it in the washer. Mallory does all the laundry here.
Yeah.
Just wash like a regular load of clothes, usually light colors, you know. So we've got our back piece cut now. And I'm going to flip down the back and we're going to do the front now.
Any mods you suggest to accommodate growing baby belly, or is it pretty forgiving as is?
It's pretty forgiving as is, but if you want it to be more, like more coverage, like if you're further along, you could cut the front longer, so it would, you know, if your belly hikes your shirt up, it would be still giving you coverage.
So did you fold it salvage or to salvage, or did you match them together to get the fold?
Huh?
Yeah.
Say it again?
So did you fold it salvage?
Oh, I did not fold the selvages together. I just folded over as much as I needed.
Okay.
I think that's what they're asking. Yeah. All right. So now we're cutting the front. I folded the back down.
What about matching stripes?
Ooh, matching stripes. Oh, somebody had a really good blog post about that. Who was that? Was that Lindsay?
Look up really good blog post about that.
Yeah. I don't have any like tried and true tricks for matching stripes. I just I pay attention when I'm cutting it, like where the stripe is. Like if my hemline ends at a solid stripe, I try to make sure the same thing happens on both sides, or like get major intersections. Okay, so I've got our front piece. Now we got to do 2 sleeves and a neckband. I'm not really cutting this most economical way to save fabric. Sorry, guys. I'm sure you guys are much better about that, but I'm not going to take the time. So one sleeve. So this is cut 2 sleeves on fold. I know there's some debate about if it's better to have a front and back to a sleeve. Generally, yes, but for this loose fitting top knit, I don't think it's that big of a deal. You will find most of my knit patterns or woven patterns that are more close fitting. I do have a front and back to the sleeve.
What's the mat that you cut on called?
This cutting mat, I got this at Joann's. It's just a cutting mat.
Yep, Joann's.
Yeah, Joann's. I actually cut it to fit my table, so because it was wider than my table.
Right.
All right. Now I'm going to cut a neckband.
The rotary cutter is Ulfa.
Oh yeah, the rotary cutter. Actually, I have both. Oh no, they're both Alpha. Yeah, I like. What? Put it in my face. Be fired.
Oh, okay. Go back to watching Netflix.
All right, 1 neckband on fold. Okay, and we have all of our pieces now. Now comes the fun part. Okay. Now we are going to lay out your pattern. You're going to do the shoulder seams. I'm going to do right sides together, front and back. We're going to serge or stitch. You can use a sewing machine for this, it's not a problem, across the shoulders.
How do you know length of neckband?
It's a pattern piece, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay.
This is the
Is there
magic.
enough light over here?
Yep.
Okay. Alright, so it's my serger. And normally, most people probably would pin or clip. I'm just gonna go for it. I've made so many of these and it's such a short length, it'll be fine. And it's a 3/8 seam allowance. Trim those threads. So we've got our
Thank you, Tessa.
What did Tessa say?
She says, I vote for pay increases for now. I agree.
Well, how about you can get your hair dyed?
Again?
Not again.
Just re-dyed?
It's getting hot in here. Hair goes up.
It's because we're in here, just heating up the room.
Okay, so we have our front to back sewn. We're going to sew the sleeve on now. onto the arm's eye. Arm's eye? I think it's arm's eye. That's what the arm cycle, arms, I don't know. This place where the sleeve goes.
I don't get paid in ice cream, okay? I get paid in cash.
You get paid in room and board. Okay. All right. So we have our sleeve, and we're going to mark the center of the sleeve. It's already folded. I'm just gonna do that.
How do you determine 3/8 inches seam on server?
Servers are different, and you can adjust it. But I have mine, so I know there's a marking on here. Can you see that? Mine is a marking that I know when I hit that, that's 3/8. But measure yours before you go by that, because it could be different, and you can change it too.
The table, I assume, is from IKEA.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so I've marked the center of the sleeves, and we're going to, you can come over here. We're going to line up the center of the sleeve to the shoulder seam.
What needle is needed?
A ballpoint needle
Okay.
for knits. All right, so the center of the sleeve, and then we're going to find the end of the arm's eye and match up the end of the sleeve on both sides. Okay, and then the rest of that length will be just fused together. Can you see okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's one sleeve. I'm just going to go ahead and do the other sleeve on here. So match up the center of the sleeve head to the shoulder seam. I like these Wonder Clips from Amazon, or they're Dirts.
Yeah, we got tons of those.
Got what?
Tons of those.
Yes, I love those. They don't work for everything, but they work for a lot.
Nothing works when I sew it all, just,
Please.
I give up.
You don't try hard enough.
That's true.
Okay. Alright, so we're just going to serge that on. You can definitely use a sewing machine. This is loose fitting, so you don't even need to use a stretch stitch with the sewing machine. You can use a regular stitch. I would lengthen your stitch a little bit and reduce your presser foot pressure so it's not sucking your fabric underneath if you're using a sewing machine. Okay. I'm just going to serge this on with the 3/8 seam allowance. Our sleeve is on. Now for the next sleeve.
Yeah, if you just hit share, it'll save it.
Yeah, I did. It should be on the group and the page. So what are you guys working with? Do most of you have sergers, or you just use a sewing machine, or what's your preference? I definitely like my serger for knit. Okay, sleeves are on. We are getting there. See, we got our front and back.
Elaine says, I have a 20-year-old basic singer.
Hey, that works. The older singers are good ones. That's what I started on when I first started sewing.
And a lot of people have sergers.
Yeah. Alright, so now we're going to sew the side seams. So with your top right sides together, we're going to match up the, can you see?
Mm-hmm.
The ends of the sleeve, match up the sleeve seam, and then all the way down, front to back. Where's Sam, do you know?
No clue.
He's awfully quiet, he's probably reading a book somewhere.
Hopefully. Probably chasing the cat outside.
Oh, stop. Okay, so we're going to, this is the side seam. We're going to start here, and or at the bottom, doesn't matter, and just do one pass.
I mean, you can match the thread color with whatever shirt you're doing.
Yeah. So I match it to what the inside of the fabric looks like. So if I were like doing something dark and I had a dark inside, I would definitely use dark
Yeah, I mean,
thread. Did someone ask that?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Alright, now we're going to do the second side seam. Just match up the underarm seam. I'm just going to pin that one. That's usually the only one I pin is where the seam intersects. Be the bottom.
You can get the pattern on Love Notions. I mean, you just...
Yeah, the
Yeah.
pattern, someone asked?
Yep.
Okay, pattern, this is the Laundry Day Tee. It is available on lovenotions.com. If you're a member of our pattern support group, there is a code in the pin post that will make it free. Maybe
Link
someone
in
can-
bio.
Huh?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
Okay, Mal.
Why is it so short?
I'm doing the shirt length, not the dress or the tunic. I'm doing the shirt length. That's the length I prefer. Okay, we have done both of our side seams. Our sleeves are attached. We are almost done.
Yes.
So there it is. So now we are going to do the neckband, which I know a lot of people had questions about because if you've never done them before, they take some practice. So grab my piece.
Is the high-low hem difficult?
No, the high-low hem is basically nothing different than a regular hem. You just cut it out differently. That's it. So
Are you doing the same steps as in the pattern?
I am, yes. And this is basically the same steps you would do for any t-shirt, pretty much. Alright, so here we have our neckband. I have folded it in half. And with the short ends together, I'm going to use my sewing machine to do a straight stitch, 3/8 seam allowance.
How do you finish the armholes on a tank since you don't have sleeves?
There's bands. Just like there's a neckband, there's bands for the tank too. And it's on page 5, I believe. And it's also printed on the pattern itself. Okay. So I've just done a straight stitch across the short ends, right sides together. I'm going to open up the band. And with the seam open, you could press it. I'm not going to, because it's behaving pretty well. And then just fold it together. Can you see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a loop, and the right sides are facing out. Now I'm going to mark the quarter points on the neckband and the neckline. So we have the center back seam, what we just did, that'll be our center back. And then right across from that is the center front. I'm just going to, I'm going to use pins. Just going to pin that together with the raw edges together. Alright, so we've got front and back done, and we're going to fold the neckband in half to get the quarter points. Get the raw edges together. Make sure I did that right. Okay. So we've got our neckband all ready to sew on with the quarter points marked. Now for the neckline, center front and center back we'll mark. To do that, we'll just, fold it so we can find the center front and center back. Okay. And then to get the quarter points, you might be tempted just to use the shoulder seams for the third and fourth point, but that would be incorrect because that is not, as you can see, that's not halfway between those two. You want it to be halfway between those two. So we fold it over again to find that. And it's about, it'll vary by size, but it's a couple inches down from the shoulder seam.
It's hot in here.
It is hot in here. Should turn the air on. Alright, so we've got our quarter points marked on the neckline, and we've got our quarter points marked on the neckband. We're going to line this up, right sides together. The seam that we made, we'll make that our center back. I have a ponytail holder over there.
I have one on my wrist.
And we're going to pin those together. Just match them up. This neckband should fit for most fabrics, but if you're working with an especially stretchy fabric, you may find you need to adjust the length a little bit. You can set that down if you need to. Is it straight? I just don't want it to be all crazy, like the camera angle. Okay. So I've got the neckband clipped to the neckline. You want it to be smaller, of course, and you want it to be smaller by a little bit, because you're going to be stretching the band to fit the neckline. So, alright, so now we're just going to serge this on. You can definitely straight stitch it. If that's what you have, that's fine. That'll work just fine. Alright. So I'm going to be stretching the band to fit the neckline. I'm not going to stretch the neckline.
Why do you sew the band on your sewing machine and not on your serger?
Like the seam, it makes a flatter seam. If you use a serger, it kind of makes that the back seam like thicker, and that drives me nuts. You totally could use a serger, but I don't like to. Okay, so I'm pulling the neck band. See how I'm just pulling the band to meet the neckline. I'm going to make sure our raw edges are together. And just stretch the band, not the neckline, to match up.
Any tips for serging it instead of sewing?
No, not really. I mean, serging's pretty straightforward. Just want to always be stretching the band, not the neckline. I I don't really have any tips for sergers.
It's unprofessional.
I have tips for a sewing machine.
Yeah, don't mess up. Tips for Mallory.
If you're using a sewing machine, definitely reduce your presser foot pressure so the fabric doesn't get sucked under. That's my biggest tip. And lengthen your stitch. Okay, we have our neckband on. There it is. See? Okay, so now all we have left to do is hem. And I will tell you a secret. I often don't hem my line. Yeah, as long as it's cut nice and straight, I don't hem it. But I'll show you guys how I hem. I won't leave you out in the cold. So, if you're just working with a sewing machine, that's fine. You can totally still hem it. You can either use a straight stitch or a twin needle, or my preference is to use a cover stitch machine, but I'm going to show you how I use my cover stitch machine.
What if the sewing machine doesn't have any way to lower pressure in the pressure foot?
I think they all do. I feel like they all do. I would check your manual because I think that's a pretty basic thing that's been on machines for as long as they've made, I think. Like no,
like that?
no, that's the foot. Here, I'll show you. On my Viking, the presser foot pressure is this right here, this knob. So default is 4. So if I'm using a slinky knit, I might reduce it to a 5, or I would play with it first on a scrap to be sure. So yeah, I'm pretty sure all sewing machines, at least all machines that are recent, have that. Okay. Whoops. Switch out machines. This is a cover stitch machine. If you sew a lot, and especially if you sew a lot with knits, they are definitely worth it. And you can get them in different price points. I think Brother has a basic machine. I've used it. It's like less than $400. It's decent. The Janome has one. I think most places have one. Most brands have one. I do recommend getting separate cover stitch machines from sergers. I know there's lots of combo machines out there, but switching between them, because I think it's you have to change out the foot plate and do all this other stuff, that would drive me nuts and it wouldn't get done. So, alright, so this is my cover stitch machine. The Laundry Day Tee has a 1-inch hem allowance. You can take it to your iron the hem up 1 inch to the wrong side and pin it if you want to be super precise, and then use your sewing machine or whatever. But I'm just going to go for it on my cover stitch. So I've folded it up, and I don't have a guide or anything. I just kind of know how it feels. And go for it. Alright, let me show you what a cover stitch looks like. Can you come over here? Can you see this? So a cover stitch gives you those 2 lines. It's not focusing. Back up a little bit. See if it'll, there we go. And then on the other side you have that. So that's what it does. And it lets knit fabric stretch. And for my sewing on my serger and my cover stitch, I use Maxi Stretch in the lower looper, which gives it even more stretch for goodness. our bottom hemmed. And I'm just going to trim those threads away. Okay. I forgot to mention, after you do your neckband, this is totally optional. Some people like to go over and top stitch the seam allowance down. I often do that because that prevents it from like flipping up and being uncomfortable. But I'm not going to do it on this one just to save us some time. So it's hemmed. All we have to do is our sleeve hemmed, and then we're done. You have any questions coming through?
No.
All right, how many people do we have viewing?
134.
Oh, awesome.
135.
Awesome.
136.
So glad you guys. Okay, Mallory. Join us. We're just sewing up the laundry day tee. I've got my daughter Mallory doing camera work and providing us with little clips. So we are finishing up with the sleeves right now. So much faster with a cover stitch machine than using a sewing machine.
Why is that?
Did you see how it zipped through it? Plus, if you're using a sewing machine, a lot of times you'll get a wavy hem because they just aren't, you know, the fabric is so much stretchier than sewing machines usually deal with. But usually, if that happens, if you have a wavy hem, just give it a good press, and that should take out a lot of the waviness. Off. Okay, that's it. We did it. Seriously, I couldn't have dried a load of laundry in the time we took it to make that. So it's pretty cute. So what do you guys think? You guys can manage to do that, right? I think anybody could do that.
Love the fabric choice.
Thank you. I can't remember where I got it. It's been so long. I think Pretty Posh Prints.
Okay, so this is the new version of the LDT, right?
This is the new version.
Yeah?
Yes.
What's the difference between this one and the old one?
The difference is the new one has the added high-low hem, it has the added dress, it has an added sleeve length elbow, it has a slightly more narrow neckband, and the sleeve has been adjusted to fit better, which makes everything else fit better on everybody. No more original or adjusted. There's just one version. Should work for most people and most knits. You still want to use a drapey knit. I mean, you can use a jersey or cotton lycra, but it's just not going to give you the same flowy look. So
the video is also on her page, so you can go back to it and see that too.
Yes. Once we finish this up, I will post it so it can be accessed at any time.
Yep.
Should I model this for you guys? Okay. I want to be completely off the camera here, Mallory. Like, completely.
Look at the wall. It's beautiful.
Like,
it's like gorgeous.
okay, stop. Mallory. Okay. Alright, here it is. It's the new laundry day tee, and these are the Allegro shorts in the 9-inch length. So.
Yep.
Yep, we got our neckline done. See, I can really tell I should have top stitched this. I'll probably go back and do that because I can feel the seam like folding up a little bit. So anyway, I'll take this now. Thank you for your help. Okay. Come back. Okay. So thanks for joining us. Anybody have any questions or anything? Is there anything else I can help you with? Kathy, you like the elbow length on Olympia? Me too. I love elbow length sleeves. It's my favorite. The seam allowance for the neckband, it's a 1/4 inch, Tina. So you don't really want to trim anything off when you're using your serger. So, Susan, she did a great job. Yeah, she did. She was pretty helpful. She's, you know, she's 13, so she's that fun age. But she did good. So it's a lot easier with her doing that. Although I couldn't see what she was filming, so I was like, I hope this is not crazy. Okay, thanks, Jan. I will. I'm so glad you guys could join me. I'm pretty happy with it. I like this print. It was buried in my closet, so got it out. What thread do I use in my serger? I use Maxi Lock in everything but the lower looper. I use something called Maxi Stretch, and that just gives like it's this is the cover stitch, but it's the same for the side seams. It gives it more stretch, more forgiveness, and it lasts longer. So yeah, I really like the Maxi Lock. I know Woolly Nylon has a similar product, but with I have a baby lock serger and cover stitch with the Jet Air threading. I have found that the Woolly Nylon is too fluffy to go through very easily, but the stretch works better. Mal needs a raise. No. I'm not going to tell her you said that. Renee, yes, it does print on 8.5 by 11. It also will work on A4. And there's also a large format file that you can send to like a copy shop and print on one large sheet. So, any tips on using just a sewing machine? Definitely, if you can, read your manual and see if you can reduce your presser foot pressure so the fabric doesn't get sucked under. Also, lengthen your stitch length so it's not tiny stitches. A little bit longer is good. I like to use a 4. That's it. I mean, sewing machines, you can definitely do this on a sewing machine. You don't have to use any other like a serger or a cover stitch or anything. I do because I have those and I sew a lot, but you can definitely use just a sewing machine. Adina, I only put it in my lower looper. I have done it before, putting it in both my loopers, but it's a little bit more expensive thread, so I just do it in one and it's fine. Does a walking foot make a difference? I don't know, Brandy. I've actually never used a walking foot. When I sew knits on my sewing machine, I don't need to use a walking foot. I know a lot of people swear by them, but I don't know. I don't really use them. I don't even have one. So what content was the fabric? Oh, what size? This is medium, Lynn. And the fabric is a rayon lycra, I guess. It's really stretchy, and it's got good recovery. So it may be I'm not sure. It's been so long. It's not 100% cotton for sure, and it's like a slinky. It's not a ITY, but it's something almost that way. So yeah, and this is a shirt length. So it hits like full hip on me. I'm 5'4". I didn't adjust it at all. So yeah. And then the tunic length is like about 3 inches longer, I believe I said. So yeah. So you're welcome, Tina. Rayon spandex. That's what it is, Terry. It's rayon spandex. Yeah. So yep. Okay, I'm so glad you guys could join me on this. I hope it was helpful to you, and maybe we'll do this again. I was kind of nervous about it because I have never done an actual sewing video, but this seemed to work out pretty well. So I'll have to do it only when Mallory's around, though, which is not very often. All right, thank you guys. How do you grade between 2 sizes? Dorothy, you know, for the laundry day tee anyway, you just want to go by your high bust, which is above your bust line, like under your arms all the way around. Pick your size based on that. And there is so much ease in the waist and the hips, you probably don't need to grade. I mean, I don't think anybody has needed to grade. between for the waist and hips. If just go by your high bust. If anything, you may find you need to do a full bust adjustment. If your full bust puts you in like 2 or 3 sizes higher than your high bust. So, all right, thanks for joining me, guys. I hope you have a great day.